Look, if you're a true fan, you can feel it. This off-season isn't just another routine overhaul. There's real pressure building on this team, especially when it comes to fixing the foundation of the offense. The front office has signings to make, money to manage, and expectations to meet. And as fans, we're all watching closely, wondering if the next step will propel this team forward or leave us with more questions than answers. So, without further ado, let's get straight to the point. Click the like button and subscribe, because I'll keep you well informed here. Let's go! Adam Schefter just reignited a conversation that Browns fans were not necessarily expecting, and it revolves around a potential trade that could reshape the offensive line room in Cleveland. ESPN floated the idea of the Cleveland Browns acquiring offensive tackle Walker Little from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and if this move actually gains traction inside Berea, it tells us a lot about how the front office views the current state of the roster. Here is the reality. ESPN's report suggests that Little may not be in Jacksonville's long-term plans. He turns 27 in April, has starting experience at left tackle, and carries what they describe as modest trade value because of his age and positional versatility. But the evaluation wasn't glowing. The article openly questioned whether he is even an average left tackle, hinting that perhaps he would settle in better at right tackle or even guard. That is not exactly a ringing endorsement, and Browns fans have every right to be skeptical. Last season in 2025, Little struggled. According to the numbers cited, he allowed 9 sacks and 57 pressures in just 12 games at left tackle before suffering a concussion. He was also flagged 10 times, which became a major issue. Pro Football Focus graded him at 62.7 overall, with similar marks as a pass blocker and run blocker. That production simply does not scream stability, especially for a Browns team that already dealt with inconsistency up front. However, it is important to remember that 2025 was not the full picture. In 2024, Little performed at a much higher level. He posted a 72.8 overall PFF grade, allowed only 2 sacks, and significantly reduced penalties. That performance earned him a 3-year, $40.5 million extension, so the Browns would not be trading for a minimum contract flyer. They would be taking on a player making roughly $11 to $12 million per year over the next 2 seasons. That is a real financial commitment. And let's be honest, the Browns need bodies. Cam Robinson, Jack Conklin, Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, and Ethan Pocic are all free agents. DeWant Jones missed most of 2025 with hamstring and knee injuries and is entering the final year of his deal. That is potentially 4 or 5 openings along the offensive line. ESPN's projected trade package would send one of Cleveland's 3 fifth-round picks to Jacksonville in exchange for Walker Little and a 2027 seventh-rounder. On paper, that is not a massive price in draft capital, but the salary is the real factor here. Physically, Little fits the prototype. He is 6'7" and 325 pounds. There is legitimate intrigue in the idea of kicking him inside to guard or using him as a swing tackle if the coaching staff believes a different scheme could unlock the 2024 version of his play. Jacksonville even experimented with him at guard. But Browns fans have seen this movie before. Trading for a tackle coming off a down year can backfire if the evaluation is off. What makes this rumor even more fascinating is the recent trade history between Cleveland and Jacksonville. On draft day, the Jaguars aggressively moved up for Travis Hunter, and the Browns capitalized by collecting premium assets, including Jacksonville's first-round pick this year, which became pick 24. Cleveland used that draft capital to select Mason Graham after moving down just 3 spots, then added Quinshon Judkins at 36 and Dylan Sampson to strengthen the backfield. Later in the season, the two teams swapped cornerbacks, with Tyson Campbell thriving in Cleveland's system, while Greg Newsome struggled in Jacksonville and hit free agency. There is clearly an open line of communication between these front offices, but familiarity does not guarantee success. The Browns cannot afford another miscalculation along the offensive line. This unit was already shaky, and while depth is needed, the question becomes whether Walker Little is a solution or simply another gamble. If this trade were on the table today, would you accept it? Or would you rather keep the draft pick and search elsewhere for reinforcements? Because if you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, this offseason is not about patchwork. It is about survival up front. 4 of the Browns' projected day-one starters on the offensive line are free agents, and the only returning starter under contract, Dawg Jones, is coming off a season where he missed most of the year with hamstring and knee injuries. That is not stability. That is a flashing warning sign. Yes, depth matters. Yes, competition matters. But committing over $11 million per year to Walker Little means you believe he can start. You are not paying that kind of money for a backup swing tackle unless you are completely desperate. And that is where this conversation gets real for Browns fans. Is this team trying to find a bargain reclamation project, or are they trying to build a dominant offensive front again? Let's revisit what ESPN projected in terms of compensation. Cleveland would send one of its 3 fifth-round picks to Jacksonville and receive Little plus a 2027 seventh-round pick in return. From a draft capital standpoint, that is manageable. You are not sacrificing premium assets, but fifth-round picks matter for a roster that needs young, cheap contributors. The Browns are going to bring in multiple offensive linemen this offseason. That is a certainty. Whether it is through the draft, free agency, or trades, reinforcements are coming. The question is whether Walker Little should be one of them. And let's not ignore the internal factor here. Joel Bitonio. He is a free agent and has openly discussed the possibility of retirement. If Cleveland can convince him to return on a short-term, team-friendly deal, that changes everything. Even in a down year for the line overall, he was arguably the most reliable presence up front. Bringing him back would immediately reduce the number of holes and potentially eliminate the urgency to make a move like this. There is also the financial ripple effect. Jacksonville is reportedly looking to create cap flexibility, which is part of why Little could be available. That makes sense from their side. But from Cleveland's perspective, absorbing that contract means less flexibility elsewhere. And this roster has other needs beyond the offensive line. Now, while all of this trade speculation is unfolding, there was another piece of news involving the Browns that cannot be ignored. According to a report from the New York Post, Browns safety Ronnie Hickman was assaulted at a Lower East Side hotel in New York City. A team spokesperson confirmed that he was treated for minor injuries at a local hospital and has since been released and is home resting with his family. Thankfully, it appears he will be okay. Situations like that remind everyone that there is more to these players than what happens on Sundays. So, here we are. A potential trade that could reshape the offensive line. A front office that has won recent deals with Jacksonville. A roster with major questions in the trenches. And a fan base that is desperate to see this team return to consistent winning football. This is a defining stretch for the Browns' leadership. Do they gamble on upside with Walker Little and hope a scheme change unlocks his 2024 form? Do they prioritize re-signing veterans like Bitonio to stabilize the room? Or do they lean heavily into the draft and build this line from the ground up again? This offseason is about getting back in the win column. Every move matters. Every dollar matters. Every draft pick matters. If this trade becomes reality, it will tell us exactly how the Browns evaluate their current situation up front. Now, I want to hear from you. Would you pull the trigger on this deal for Walker Little, or would you hold on to that fifth-round pick and search for a different answer at tackle or guard? Drop your take, make your case, and let's debate it. If you want exclusive Browns coverage like this all off-season long, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and click on the video that's on your screen right now. Go Browns!